Hello, in this edit I'm going to show you how to create this kind of surreal composition using SuperimposeX. So if I zoom in here, you can see that what looks like a sweater with a white necktie is actually a hole in the chest, and you're seeing the drain pipe behind the head, and also the shadow has a hole as well, and yet the shadow looks reasonably realistic. So this is a planned out photo shoot. This was not a random composition of taking a background like this, cutting out a person from somewhere else and putting it in front. Because when you plan it out in advance, then the effect looks realistic, and you can actually even create some mystery for your viewers. So take a look at this comment here. I've been studying this photo for some time, trying to figure how you did it. How did you get the tie-like white stripe? But how did you get the fence over your chest? This is fantastic. What fun. And then this person is guessing that I cloned the big shirt and went into SuperimposeX to put the fence, carefully erasing between the fence lines. The actual trick is much easier than that, and in order to do that, the trick makes use of the blank background, which I did not share on social media. So what I said was there were two images being used for the edit. One was a photo of me standing in front of that building, and I said this is the original image. So people got confused. How can I cut out a hole with just one image? And am I doing cloning and things like that? But enough said, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. So to start the edit, I'm going to superimpose X, and I'm going to photos, and I will choose the blank background. This was shot on my iPhone, and I say choose. I will also go to layers, add layer, photo layer, and I'm going to choose the image of me standing in front of the same location, and I'll say choose. I'm going to transform fit to base. So this layer is on top. So the first thing I'd like to do is mask out myself, the outline of myself. But before I do that, I'm also going to create an extra copy of this by duplicating layer, which I can explain later. So now I have two copies of myself here. So on the top layer, I'm going to mask, and I'll start by going to mask tool and auto mask people, and it did something. It's not clear what it did because the layer behind is visible, but if you hit the icon on the top right, the second from the top right, it looks like two diamonds. You will be able to see only the topmost layer, a single layer. Right now it's showing it with checkered background, but I prefer to tap on this eye icon and show it with a red. So the area that is masked out is kind of a translucent red, and you can see through it. So now I can actually pinch and zoom into the layer. I'll click on layers and zoom in, and you can see it did an okay job as a starting point, but there are obviously areas that it missed out. So in order to do that, I will click on mask, mask tool, and choose the third icon, which is the regular pen. I'll just check my settings and make sure the brush size is not too large. I chose to do this edit on my iPhone. It would have been a lot easier and precise if I used my iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil, but I wanted to show you can accomplish it on your own iPhone. Maybe when you're stuck somewhere in traffic or waiting in an office or something. When you're portable, you can do it on your phone and amuse yourself with this kind of edits on the phone. So I chose the brush size smaller, and now I'm going, it's set for erase mode if you look at the bottom right. So I'm going to click on restore, and where it didn't mask out my jacket, I am restoring it like that. And I'm not doing it very precisely because I didn't want to spend too much time, but just to show you that you can do this on your, and then here also. So I think we have a passable mask. So my pants need a little bit of work here, and I think my shoe got masked. So let me fix that. So if you pinch and zoom in on your phone, you can actually do fairly precise masking on the phone. Of course, if you have the luxury of owning an iPad Pro, it does become a lot easier and faster on that. But that's really a luxury purchase for many people. So I've done this. Now what I would like to do is I would like to mask out my sweater. So I'll click on erase here. I go to mask tool. I'm going to choose the second masking option, which is like a magic brush, and let me check my settings. The threshold, I'll make it a little bit like that and give it a shot here. So you can see when I tapped that, it selected that area. So it's masking things of the same color but within this boundary. So that way, with a few taps, I was able to mask out my sweater. And I think I may have messed up the fingers here a little bit. So I'll click on my mask tool, click on the single mask, and let's click on restore it on my fingers. Let's zoom in here again. So there, that looks good. So what I have here is myself masked out. I can change the masking mode from red. I can click on the red eye and check it in green, blue, rainbow colors, or the best one is black and white to see if there are any defects. Black and white is immediately reveals the defects, and here I can see there are some areas that I need to fix, these small artifacts here. So you can make sure you have a sharp edge. And once that's done, so you have a top layer here. Let me click on this once again. So what I want to do now is to cast a shadow. So because I have my real shadow in the layer underneath, it's a duplicate of this layer. It helps me to know what position the shadow is supposed to be in. But what I'm going to do is go to that the layer immediately behind, go to transform, blend, and reduce the opacity of that a little bit. So I made the layer behind a little more transparent. I think I shook the layer while moving my finger because I see a double image. So let me go to transform, fit to base, and maybe this one, transform, fit to base, and the top, fit to base, transform, fit to, okay. So I think it's okay. I don't know why I'm seeing double. Oh, the reason why I'm seeing double is because the photo of me in front of the building was not taken with a tripod. It was taken handheld. So there is a slight offset in the empty picture which is in the back. That's the reason I'm seeing double. I don't need to worry about that really. But the reason I'm showing this middle layer in translucent is to get the direction of the shadow to be authentic. So now I'm going to my top layer, which is just the cutout of me, and go to layers, cast shadow. And here we have the cast shadow. I can move the shadow and position it like this. So now you see the advantage of that. It gives you roughly the right direction and size for the shadow. You can see that there's a little hole cut out there, and I'm going to make the shadow opacity 100%. I'm going to make the blur amount 0. I'm going for a very sharp shadow because it's a very sunny day here. And click on this check mark. And let's turn off the middle layer and see how it looks. So you can see there's a small issue in that the superimpose shadow that was generated, one foot doesn't actually align with the other foot at the correct angle. So this is the reason why I actually made a duplicate layer of the real shadow. So what I'm going to do is make that layer visible, and I am going to mask, click on erase, mask tool, and click on a small section here like that. So what I'm doing is near my foot I'm getting the original shadow back, and I click on yes. So now what I've gone and done is in the layer in the middle I got my real shadow there. I got to transform, blend mode, and make the opacity 100. So now you can see that if I go here and zoom in, the shadow where it meets my feet is looking good, and that the reason for that is because it is actually my real shadow. But here at the same time on the top I have managed to have a superimposed generated shadow with a hole cut out in my chest, and that way I've been able to create this high quality image. And once the surreal image is ready, I just go to save the blended image, JPEG high quality, and save. So your edit is ready, and that's all it took. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more tutorials on photography apps for the iPhone, etc., please subscribe and follow my channel. Click on the bell icon so that you can be notified if I add any new videos. Thank you very much.